Welcome students. Today we are going to discuss the topic that is nutraceutical and health food. So one by one we are going to discuss about nutraceutical and health foods. What is the meaning of nutraceutical, its definition, its concept, then classification of nutraceutical in detail, what are the different sources of nutraceuticals, then what is the importance of nutraceutical. Okay, so we are going to discuss the content one by one. The content are introduction, classification, then classification based on sources, chemical nature, mechanism of action, then importance of nutraceutical and functional food. Now, whenever the word comes nutraceuticals, so it is nothing but the simple word which is formed from the two words, that is nutrition and pharmaceutical. Now, this word nutraceutical, it coined from, or it is formed from the two words, that is nutrition and pharmaceutical, by in 1989, and it is given by Stephen DeFalis, who was the founder or chairman of the Foundation for Innovation in Medicine. Now, before, what is the basic concept here? Why this means, what is the need of this nutraceutical concept, and why they felt that there should be a certain concept, that is nutrition and pharmaceutical, that is nutrition from food, and pharmaceutical, that is the medicinal concept should be there. So, for this purpose, it is previously proposed by, that is the Greek physician Hippocrates, often known as the father of medicine. Now, he said that let food be your medicine and not medicine be your food. Simply means let food be your medicine, means whatever we are eating, what the food we are consuming, it should have certain values that prevent the occurrence of disease. That is why it is called as a food be your medicine. And now in coming days we are seeing that whenever person having certain kind of disease, so the physician or doctor recommend different kinds of medicine. And what if when a person have a illness for a long period of time, or the repeated illness of same disease or different diseases, so it is a nature that the person having more rely on medicine rather than food. So that's why it is said that let food be your medicine and not medicine be your food. So here the concept is based on focus on prevention, disease prevention के ऊपर फोकस किया गया है rather than occurrence of disease and then to treat it. How we can prevent the disease, how we can prevent the disease from occurrence. So this is the main focus or main concept. So let's see the definition, concept of nutraceutical in detail. So we are going to discuss it, the definition of nutraceutical, then health food or functional food, and there are different literature, different what you can say organization, they have proposed the concept of the nutraceutical. Now first of all, Dr. DeFalis, that is Stephen DeFalis, who proposed that nutraceutical is any substance that is a food or part of the food that provides medicinal or health benefits, including the prevention and treatment of diseases. Now according to him, so it may be a food or it may be a part of food. Now what is its importance? A particular component which is a part of food or which is a food itself. Now apart from providing benefits in terms of nutrition, but it also provides the health benefits, and that health benefits will help for prevention of disease as well as treatment of disease. Now how treatment of disease? Now we cannot say that only consume the nutraceutical and your disease will be cured. Now in severe case, definitely we have to visit hospital, we have to consult doctors, whatever the medicine they are going to give us. So we have to use it, we have to consume it. But apart from that, along with that, when we use the food or nutraceutical, which is having the health benefits, so that will help us for quick recovery of that particular disease. Now apart from that, so Health Ministry of Canada, so they define it as, nutraceutical को उन्होंने क्या define किया है, as a product isolated or purified from food and which is generally sold in medicinal form, not assisted with food, and which should have a demonstrated physiological benefits and provide protection against chronic diseases. So according to the Health Ministry of Canada, so they propose that so it should be a product isolated from food. So they have clearly mentioned that it should be a isolated product from food and it should have demonstrated benefits in terms of, that is physiological benefits, as well as it should protect against the chronic disease. Now that isolated product should be isolated or in a purified form and it should be sold in medicinal form, not assisted with food. So Canada clearly, Health Ministry of Canada clearly defined that it should be isolated part of the food, isolated and purified part of food, and should not be assisted with food but considered as a medicinal form, and it should provide the benefits, physiological benefits as well as prevention or protection of disease. So the data should be clearly defined one, or demonstrated data should be there. Now again, some other institute or literature have certain concept related to nutraceutical. For example, nutraceutical is any substance considered as a food or its part which, in addition to its normal nutritional value, it should provide health benefits including prevention of disease or promotion of health. So it should prevent the disease or promote the health. Sometimes it may be a food or part of the food. So this is from a particular literature. Then it is again another concept or another definition. It is any non-toxic food component that has scientifically proven health benefits including disease treatment or prevention. Now here clearly stated that whenever we are going to consider a particular isolated form or part of the food, so it should be non-toxic. ये toxic नहीं होना चाहिए. It should be non-toxic and should be component of food. Okay, and it has scientifically proven health benefits. So it is not like that some scientist or some organization have proposed that they have XYZ particular food and it has isolated form of particular ingredient and they are stating that it has a health benefits. So they do not quote it unless it has a proven or scientific data. Then only it should be considered as a nutraceutical. Then the functional component of the food. Functional component here, a functional component means additional function in terms of health benefits must be standardized in nutraceutical product and produced under good manufacturing practices GMP. So these all statement related to when nutraceutical it is sold in medicinal form. So its components should be standardized at what level, what quantity, what amount should be taken, it should be in which form. So these all parameters should be standardized and it should be produced according to GMP, that is good manufacturing practices. Again, then there is further term, that is nutraceutical and functional food or health foods. So these are two new terms used to describe health promoting foods or their extracted components. So whenever any food, now any food means the food which has certain health beneficial components. Now in that case we can have two terms, nutraceutical and functional food. So again it is a little confusing. Now here nutraceutical, to be clear, to be precise, nutraceutical is one which is in an isolated form, whereas the food which contains that particular ingredient, that particular nutraceutical, so that food can be called as a functional food. So there is definitely debate, there is definitely a different description related to nutraceutical and functional food or health food. So the debate continues regarding the exact meaning of these two terms. That is, it is convenient to consider nutraceutical as health food product that are formulated and taken in dosage form, that is in the form of capsule, tincture or tablet. Simply nutraceutical, it should be taken in a dose amount, in a certain amount only. Whereas functional food on the other hand are products that are consumed as a food and not in dosage form. So later on we are going to cover the functional food as well as nutraceutical definitely, but here simply I want to quote here the example. For example, tomato. Now in tomato there is a active ingredient, that is lycopene. So lycopene is the nutraceutical, and a tomato we can consider it as a functional food. So when we extract lycopene from the tomato and we consume it, so it should be in a particular amount, it should be in a particular dose form, whereas the tomato as such we are going to consume it as a food. So there should not be any limitation that it should be consumed in particular amount or not. So this is the clear cut boundary we can say. So nutraceutical we are going to consume it in a dosage amount or in a particular amount, whereas a functional food we are going to consume it as a food, that is there is no a particular limit, and that functional food contains the active ingredient, that is nutraceutical. Then further to describe, functional food is similar in appearance or maybe in conventional food, whatever the different food we have, so that is available. Only functional food we can consider them when it gives additional function, that is it provide nutrients definitely, but apart from nutrients they provide the health benefits. Another definition of nutraceutical, it is a product isolated or purified from foods that is generally sold in medicinal form and not usually associated with the food. Now when nutraceutical is demonstrated to have a physiological benefit or provide protection against chronic diseases, whereas functional foods are defined broadly as food that provide more than simple nutrition, they supply additional physiological benefits to the consumer. So it is a food, definitely they are going to provide the nutrients or nutrition, but apart from that it contains additional benefit in terms of health, promotion of health. Now coming back to different countries or organization and their concept related to nutraceutical and health food or functional food. So Japan was the country who first recognized the functional food as separate category in their food regulations in 1991, and they introduced the term FOSHU, that is food for specified health use system, to evaluate whatever the different health food or health claims are there. Then number of other definition and terms used worldwide to denote nutraceutical, like they are like Japan they have categorized this under FOSHU. So likewise some other countries like they consider them or they categorized them as dietary supplement in USA. Canada called it as natural health product. Australia uses the term complementary medicine. European Union denotes it by the word food supplements, and in India it is known as foods for special dietary use. And the regulation of food in India, which is regulated through Food Safety and Standard Authority of India. So in India it is defined in section 22 in the Food Safety and Standard Act 2006. So there is a separate concept of nutraceuticals related to food for special dietary use. So that is comes under Section 22 of FSSAI Act 2006. So why rely on nutraceutical, functional food or health food? Why not, whenever we have some kind of disease, go and consult to physician, take the treatment and all that? Now it is not possible throughout the world to take the treatment. So nearly 2/3 of the world population, that is 6.1 billion people, rely on the healing power of the plant-based materials. So it is not possible to all of them to go consult physician, take the treatment and all that. So many reasons, that is whether the medicine is available, whether it is affordable, whether it is safe. So that is why they rely on the natural power of plant-based materials. Medical benefits of food have been explored for thousands of years. We are using it since ancient times, and modern nutraceutical industry began to develop during 1980s. They identified its importance, that is, rather than treatment when we have disease and treat it, it is important to have a prevention. So that is why there is focus to consume the food which gives or which prevent the occurrence of disease. So identify and consume these kinds of food which have health benefits, which have a nutraceutical ingredient, which are in a functional food nature. Now next concept, that is classification of nutraceutical. How we are going to classify the nutraceutical? So nutraceutical we are going to classify on different notes, like classification based on sources, classification based on chemical nature, classification based on mechanism of action. For example, based on sources, so nutraceutical maybe it may be based on the sources like plant-based nutraceutical, animal-based nutraceutical, microbial nutraceutical. So whatever the plant-based nutraceuticals are there, for example, we have certain example quoted here like beta-glucan, ascorbic acid, gamma-tocotrienol, quercetin, lutein, cellulose, lycopene, hemicellulose. So these are all plant-based. Then animal-based, means source is animal. For example, conjugated linoleic acid, then icosapentaenoic acid, docosahexaenoic acid, sphingolipids, choline, lecithin, calcium. These are all animal-based nutraceutical. Then we have microbial-based. For example, certain microorganisms, Saccharomyces boulardii, Bifidobacterium bifidum, Bifidobacterium longum, Bifidobacterium infantis. These are microorganisms and they definitely provide health benefits. So they categorized as based on sources as plant, animal and microbial sources. Then the base classification of nutraceutical based on chemical nature. So whatever the nutraceutical it is, what is its actual nature, that is the chemical nature. So nutraceutical may be isoprenoids, may be phenolic compounds, may be protein or amino acid based, it may be a carbohydrate derivatives, it may be a fatty acids, it may be a mineral, microbial. Isoprenoids or terpenoids, in that nutraceutical may be carotenoids, saponins, tocotrienols, tocopherol. Phenolic compounds, for example, coumarins, tannins, lignins, anthocyanins, isoflavones, flavonones and flavonols. Then protein and amino acid, for example, we have amino acids, allyl sulfur compounds, capsaicinoids, isothionoids. These are all come under the protein or amino acid based. Then carbohydrate derivatives, for example, ascorbic acid, oligosaccharide, non-starch polysaccharide. Fatty acid, for example, omega-3 fatty acid, omega-3 polyunsaturated fatty acids, conjugated linoleic acid, monounsaturated fatty acids, minerals, calcium, selenium, potassium, zinc, etc. Microbial, when microorganism, for example, probiotic and prebiotic. So this is nothing but the classification based on chemical nature. Then the next classification category is nothing but the classification based on mechanism of action. So the mechanism of action, classification based on mechanism of action, we are going to cover it in detail in our next session. Thank you.